Good morning, team. Happy Monday. I'm super excited for a new week and new opportunities. And I've been thinking about these thoughts in my mind for a couple days. Over this weekend, I had the opportunity to talk to another star director who was feeling very discouraged. She was feeling very unworthy in her role, kind of attacked. And I was talking with her and just kind of giving her some reassurance. And it really made me think about how we have to have grace and mercy in our business, especially with our leaders. And by this, I don't mean like you need to worship them or mourning or think that they're the perfect beings. But sometimes some consultants have an amazing sponsor or leaders that they can easily follow, that can set a good example, that they can get trainings. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes, we as leaders are learning as we go. Sometimes we didn't have someone to teach us the way. So we are trying to find our way amongst finding what our leadership skills are, what our leadership, way is, right? Because everybody is different. And sometimes we make mistakes. I know that I can completely admit to the fact that I've made plenty of mistakes in my business, especially as a leader and as a consultant. And I feel like it's really easy for some people to sit back and point those things out and to say you're not being a good leader because you're not doing this and this and this and that. But different personalities, we took the color test during World Tour, and you've seen the love language, the little number code thing. All those things reflect how different people can be. And with Scentsy, it's not unusual to see a team be made up of completely different personalities, right? If you're talking about the color test, you'll have red blues and red and blues, and you'll have whites and yellows and all these things. Because of the fact that Scentsy can bless anyone's life and anyone can join, right? They're not going to say, oh, sorry, only whites can join. And I'm totally referring to the color test. But there's going to be different personalities along our journey. That doesn't mean that because there's someone that we don't get along with, we don't like, that's a bad person necessarily. Now, per Scentsy's policy, and I'm going to read it directly from what it says responsibility to frontline. Or for frontline. It says, set reasonable expectations with your frontline regarding the opportunity, products, and requirements for establishing and maintaining an account. Take a proactive role in providing assistance and training and make yourself available as the first point of contact for your frontline. Encourage and empower your frontline to do the same for their frontline. That is literally what Scentsy requires you to do, and we're going to break this down. So what does set reasonable expectations mean? That you're not lying to them. You're not telling them, oh, you can join and all you got to do is order once in a while. No, let them know that they need to order 200 PRV within 4 months to be able to stay current with Scentsy. Right now, we know that there's no cancellations, but that doesn't mean that it won't be reinstated at any moment. Let them know that a party order is 200, so that they need to have 200 to be able to put in a party order and get the rewards. Setting those reasonable expectations, and you can't demand that they do a certain amount. I've heard this from people, and I'm astonished to see people saying that they're telling their team that they have to sell this much or that they have to do this, and I'm like, what? We're all independent consultants. We are all independent consultants. We don't have to do anything that we don't want to do. But as a sponsor, we do have to set those reasonable expectations, right? So what does provide assistant mean? This means that you communicate with your team. And what can that look like? Well, if you are a superstar consultant or a director and above, we recommend that you open your own team page. You don't have to. That is not a requirement by Scentsy. I think it just makes it a little bit on the easier side to communicate with our teams than to have to message everyone or email. Some people don't look at their emails very often, so it kind of helps me to be able to communicate with my team a little bit more on a faster way. That you are communicating with them. So maybe you have a group chat or you friend request them on Facebook. But you need to communicate with them at least once or twice a month. I know that the Scentsy standards does not say like a certain amount, but it does say that you have to provide assistance. And to me, communicating with your team once a year or when you're close to promoting, that is not providing assistance. Providing assistance is communicating with them at least once or twice a month, asking them, what are your goals? Like what are you looking forward to in this holiday collection? What's your favorite product? What are you struggling with? Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have all the answers, but if you know what your team is struggling with, you know what you can assist them with and what you might need help with from your director and star director and superstar director. So what is provide training? Like it says you have to provide training, right? That doesn't mean that you have to do a live, that you have to come up with the trainings. You guys, there are so many tools that Scentsy gives us. Providing training for them can look like this. You tagging them on trainings that I or any of our leaders do on our team page. You're providing them with training. You are tagging them so that they can watch the video. You can share on your group chat or via text or email a training that you found useful on YouTube or the workstation. You're providing them with training. You don't have to recreate it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but you do have to provide them with training. And lastly, that you are your frontline's first point of contact. Please do not sponsor and tell your teams, oh, you can go to our director or our star director if you need anything. You are their first point of contact. They need to know that you are accessible. Yes, you do set business hours. Yes, you're not going to be available 24/7, and you want to make that very clear so they can respect your business boundaries. But you want to make sure that they are coming to you first. And then if you do not know the answer, you can either call Scentsy, look on your workstation, or you can reach out to your sponsor or director to get the answer. That not only helps them see you as their point of contact, but it helps them see you as a leader. There's so many times that I hear a leader say, oh, well, my team doesn't see me as a leader. They always go to you. Well, are you teaching them to do that? Because I can tell you guys, I do not. I email everyone on our team for recognition. And I do email them sometimes to just check in and see how they're doing. But I'm not emailing them constantly. So if the only face that they're seeing is me when I go live and when I share things on our team page, and you're not contacting them, you're not checking in with them, you're not providing some kind of training, they might see me as the only point of contact. You as their sponsor need to make sure that you are letting them know that you are their first point of contact, that you are there for them. Be a cheerleader. You don't have to work their business for them to cheer them on. But like I've said in previous trainings, you might be the only person that believes in them right now. And that could change their world. As long as we're fulfilling these Scentsy requirements, that is enough. That is enough. That is all that Scentsy requires out of us. So a team page is not required. Team page is a privilege, you guys. You guys have heard us say that time and time again. A team page is something that we create because, like I said, it's easier for us to be able to communicate with you guys, to provide training. It kind of helps build the community sense, the family sense, but it's not required. We see a lot of leaders that they do a lot more than these minimum requirements, right? They do team calls, shout outs, training programs, happy mail, one-on-one coaching calls. So a lot of leaders who choose not to do them for whatever reason sometimes are belittled. And that's what happened to my new friend this weekend. Her team was belittling her because she promoted so fast. She was telling me a little bit of her story. She reinstated last September, promoted to director in I think 4 months, and then promoted to star director in 4 months. So she's a brand new star director who's still trying to figure out her business all over again. And because she is not her superstar director, her team is belittling her. Her team is saying, well, you're not giving us what we need. You're not doing enough. You're not doing your job like so-and-so is. This is when grace and mercy is needed in our business. As long as your sponsor or yourself are fulfilling the requirements by Scentsy, that is enough. Not doing extra doesn't make them a bad person or a bad leader. They have their reasons. Maybe it's their work schedule. Maybe it's their finances. Maybe it's just they they just cannot take that many hours into their Scentsy business. So when they do work their Scentsy business, they have to focus on their own business. But that doesn't give anyone the right to belittle or to criticize anyone. I've seen so many amazing leaders who are so hard on themselves because of what their team is holding them up to. Or because they're like comparing them to somebody else. As leaders, we have to do what's best for us financially, time consuming, and that we can do consistently. When I'm talking one-on-one with my teammates and my upcoming leaders, I tell them that the most important thing is that whatever they're going to do for their team, that they do it consistently. That might change with time. For example, I can use the example of shout outs. I would always do shout outs on our team page. Our team right now, our entire group is a group of 152. There is no way that I can sit down and literally do a weekly shout out tagging 70 to 80 people a week. It is too time consuming for me to do that. And I know that that might sound selfish, especially if you're used to getting shouted out, but I shout people out in a lot of different ways. I send out emails, I do happy mail, and I teach my leaders to do the same. There's just it's not fair to my business and then my actual team, like my regular team that I have to take care of, right? Because as a group, I have other directors that help with taking care of their teams. So I have to take care of my team, take care of the group, because that is under my responsibilities as a star director, and then take care of my business that I can literally say I can take out an hour, which is what it was taking me to tag people. You guys, I love shouting you guys out. It is like, I love recognizing you guys for your hard work, but sometimes things change. So as leaders, we have to realize what we can financially do, what we can time consuming do, and what we can do consistently. And like I said, sometimes that will change, that will evolve, but just because a leader decides that they can't do something does not make them a less of a leader. When I was in my journey, and to this day, really, I never got happy mail. You guys. I didn't get one-on-ones. I literally had to beg one of my friends who was a director at the time to let me into one of her training programs because I wanted to be part of a training program so badly. I had to literally beg her. And I remember she said, okay, well, I can't see your numbers. So on a weekly basis, you have to screenshot me your numbers. And I would do anything that she made me do. I would jump through hoops because I wanted to be part of the training so bad. I didn't have a team page. I had a team page, but I wasn't part of a team page for a really long time. I met Patricia about 5 years ago. So a little bit over 5 years ago. So I wasn't part of her team page until maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So I literally had to do it on my own. And that didn't stop me. That didn't stop me from growing, from achieving things, from learning, from just really finding a way past those things. Yes, I'm not going to lie. Every time that someone posted something that they got in the mail from their sponsor, their director, I was a little bit jealous. When I would go to events and I saw people that were getting these cute little bags full of little things, I was jealous because I wanted that. I wanted that sense of belonging, that sense of community. But it did not stop me. Not having those things made me want to do them for my team. And after all I do, and I share with you guys, I still receive backlash. I still get mean messages saying that I'm not a good leader. And sometimes people tell me that they don't like me. It happens. It is that difference of personalities that doesn't matter what I give. They just do not like me because our personalities clash. And that's okay. I don't say these things out of anger or hurt. I say it as proof that no matter what someone does, there will always be someone to say that you're not doing enough. That's not the way it's done. You should be doing more. You don't focus on things. I remember the day that someone told me, oh, you care about numbers, you don't care about people. What? I literally was jaw dropped because I like numbers. Numbers fascinate me. Our reporting tab fascinates me. That doesn't mean that I care about numbers. That doesn't mean that people on our team are not people to me. They are. And that's why I try so hard to find out what their goals are so that I'm not trying to push them past what they want to achieve. That I'm not like imposing something on them. Because if I know that your goal is to have 500 PRV, sweetheart, I'm going to be checking in on you and saying like, hey, like I see that you're at 200. Like, do you have any more parties? Like, how can I help you? But if your goal is 200, I'm going to shout you. I'm like, oh my gosh, you crushed your goal. Like, that's so awesome. Like, is there anything else that you want to accomplish this month that I can help you with? Numbers just fascinate me. They're not more important than the people on our team. But there's always going to be someone that's going to say that you're not doing enough. Whether it's your upline, your downline, someone that sees you from across the room. It took me a really long time to try and stop focusing on getting people to like me and to agree with me and to work on just being the best leader that I could be. And you guys, it was really hard because everybody wants to be liked. No one wants to be disliked. Nobody wants to know that someone is like literally waiting for them to fail or watching them from the sidelines and saying like, I don't like that person. But after a while, I had to realize that for my own peace of mind, I had to just be the best leader that I could be. Sometimes my stress wasn't even like trying to get them to like me. It was kind of tiptoeing around them like, oh my gosh, like, how can I say this so I don't hurt anyone's feelings? How can I do this so that I don't make them feel left out? Team hangouts. For a long time, I was like, can you guys vote? Can you guys do this? And then like, I felt so bad because like, okay, well, if I do it on this night, this person can't go. And then if I do it on this night, this person can't go. If I do it here, this person... I had to realize after talking to a lot of leaders, I had to do what was best for me and my family and give what I could give of myself. And sometimes I know that it doesn't, what I can give does not meet what other people require of me. And that's why I try to be a little bit like, like not bend over backwards, but a little bit like lenient on things. Like, sometimes I'm like, I've gone up to Riverview to do team hangouts. I've done dinner after events so that we can hang out because no one could come early and stuff like that. But I really had to learn to put boundaries and be the best leader that I could be, right? This year at World Tour, as I was trying to figure all these things out and I was trying to really find myself as a leader, I heard a quote. And the funny story is that was my first breakout. So my first breakout, I can't remember the name of the breakout, but I was supposed to go to this breakout and I had to step out of it to go pick up the lunch that we got delivered. So I missed out on the training. So at the end of the day, I was talking to some of the Scentsy teams that I was with. Like I was talking to, I think it was Ashley, Ashton. No, I wasn't with Ashton. I was Ashley, Patricia, Stephanie. And I was like, you guys, I really feel like I need to go to this training. So I'm going to skip this training, like I got this down. I'm going to go to this training. So I walked in and I sat down and I felt so weird being like by myself because I had been with my team all day. And I remember when the speaker said, their lack of gratitude doesn't determine your leadership. And I started bawling. I started bawling because for so long I measured my leadership skills according to what people were thanking me for or what people were grateful for or what people were like accepting as my leadership skills. But I had to realize that no, like that doesn't determine if I'm a good leader or not. What determines me being a good leader is me doing my best, giving my 110% to my team, whatever that can be. So if you know that you're doing your absolute best and you're meeting Scentsy's requirement, you're communicating with your team, you're providing some kind of training, you're accessible to them to an extent. Again, please do not train your teams. I did this for far too long. And it's been hard for me to teach them that, no, I'm not accessible at all times. Like, teach them that there are times for business hours and there's times where you are not accessible. Do not be a slave to your team. But if you know that you're doing those things, you're doing enough. You're the best you're doing the best you can. Some teammates will never be satisfied. And I say that like with a heartache, because I'm like, this business is so amazing. And some people just, they try, and I'm not talking about specifically on our team, like across Scentsy, some people just try to destroy that Scentsy spirit. And I'm all up for Scentsy spirit. Like I'm all about like being genuine and authentic and keeping things simple. And I know that at times we struggle with those things. Like I think that a lot of times people think that because someone has struggled or made a mistake, that they can never come back from that. And we know because of life that people can come back from anything. We see people come back from addictions all the time. We see people come back from like bad lifestyles, alcoholism, being abused, all these things, and they come back from those things. So why not give some grace and a little bit of mercy to those leaders that have made mistakes, that have maybe not been the best, but maybe they're doing the best that they can, and we're just kind of holding them up to a standard that we think needs to be met. I think that when we realize what the Scentsy policies are, we can kind of be grateful for the little things, even if they're very little and minimal according to us, of what our leaders are doing. Those weekly shout outs, those little happy mails, offering one-on-one calls, doing training programs. It really saddens me when I see us leaders taking time out of our business to do things for our team and they don't show up. Like, we can only give so much. We can only show up so much. Your sponsor, your director, your star director, your superstar director cannot show up for you. You have to show up for yourself. And you have to do that as a leader as well. We are here to help you. And if I were to read to you guys the responsibilities of a director and a star director, if I can get them to come back up. Like right now, so as a star director, I have stewardship, what they call stewardship, over my first generation and second generation directors and any star directors on my team. So that means that I have the responsibility to make sure that my directors, my first and second generation, are being trained, that they know that I am their first point of contact, that I'm providing assistance and reasonable expectations, and for their team. So yes, sometimes I do reach out to their team to make sure that they're okay. I offer my directors the opportunity to have me reach out to somebody on their team that they would want me to reach out to. So I ask them, every time I send them an email, I say, is there anyone on your team you would want me to reach out to, either to celebrate them or to just check in on them and encourage them? Maybe they're going through a hard time. And I got that from Patricia. I loved when Patricia was doing that for us as directors. Directors, they have stewardship over their first generation directors and star directors and their entire downline. So your directors I'm not gonna say literally, because it's not just, I don't want them to overstep, but they can reach out to your team if they know that you're not fulfilling your role as a leader, and they can provide those things to them. But with that being said, it's not a way that you can just sit back and let your director do the job. That's not fair to them. It's not fair to your team. Your team joined under you for a reason. So make sure that you are fulfilling those requirements. And you guys, let's be honest. These requirements do not take a lot of time. This could take, you could do this on the first of the month and be done for the rest of the month. You can set reasonable expectations when they join. You provide assistant, meaning communication, on the first of the month by sending them an email saying, hey, new month here. What are your goals? Here's a training. And then if you need me, let me know. Boom, you've met your requirements. Now, I also would never want you guys to be like a mediocre leader. I want you guys to give you the best of the best. But I'm literally saying, if that's all you want to do, You can. There's no reason why you can't. And I don't like when I hear, oh, well, my team does not respond to me. I get left unread all the time, you guys. All the time. I do Facebook Messenger a lot of the times to see if the person received my message. And I laugh when I go back and I see that they've seen it. And then I go back like 2 days later and they still haven't responded. And I'm like, wow, okay, so they saw my message and they still didn't respond. Okay. Or when I post something on the team page, like a poll, and I can see who's seen it and they didn't vote. Like, come on. Like, I can see it. I get left unread all the time. But guess what? It's not about me saying, oh, well, they don't want my help, I'm not going to help them. It's about me saying, you know what? I'm doing what I need to do and I'm giving you my best. If you don't want that, that is fine. But I know my conscience is clear that I did the best that I could do. And that's what I want for you guys as leaders. I want you guys to be able to say, I gave it my all. And if that person doesn't want it, I know it like can bug you to the core at times because you're like, man, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But if you're giving your best, I can assure you, you're not doing anything wrong. I have people on my team in our group that are sitting on the will cancel list for the past 6 months. And I'm like, you've had 6 months of grace period to place an order. You've had 6 months of us providing training, providing ideas during this pandemic on how to get sales. I get it. It wasn't easy for everyone. Some people's personality don't want, push sales during a pandemic. But I can tell you this, I've had some of the best months during this pandemic because my customers are buying the things that they need for their household, laundry, cleaning, hand soaps. Like, you don't have to put a sales post out there. You can show on your stories how you're using the Scentsy product. Okay, where there's a will, there's a way. And we all have that. We all have the people that don't really push. We have the people that say they have all these dreams and they don't really do anything. When it comes to the time of putting that work in, they're not. But that shouldn't make you stop being the best you can be or giving your 100%. Because you know what? You never know when you're going to have a rock star. You never know when that person is going to change their mind, a light bulb is going to go off, or they need Scentsy to work. I love Scentsy, and Scentsy has worked for me for the past 8 years. But I can tell you guys this, when my husband was laid off March 3rd, sorry about that, I needed Scentsy to work. I needed Scentsy to pay my rent the next month. And so I got to work even harder because I needed Scentsy. Nothing changed as my passion for Scentsy, my love for Scentsy products. My need changed. And that can happen to anyone at any moment. So make sure that you are not just letting go of your requirements because of the fact that someone might not be appreciative of what you're doing. You do the best you can because you want to, because you are a better person. So I hope that you guys can find some meaningful stuff out of this training. And as you guys run your business, you guys can offer some grace and mercy for those around you, whether it's your upline, your director, your star director, your superstar director, or just across the board. Anyone you come across on, different groups, your downline. Just find that grace and mercy because honestly, this is our own business. We don't know what's going on in their lives to really judge them for it. I hear a lot, oh, my leader is not a good person. And there are leaders out there that are not good. There are leaders out there that are lazy and they don't care. But there are leaders out there that have things going on that they don't even talk about, that they don't want to put out there. So let's be a little bit of a better person and share that grace and mercy and just kind of think of, what would Heidi and Orville do? Like, what would they do if they were in our shoes? Okay? I love you guys. I hope you guys have a great Monday and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.